Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rainbow History Class. I am Rudy Jean Rigg, and today I'm enjoying some candy.
And I am Hannah McElhinney. I'm also enjoying this candy, but trying not to chew it too close to the microphone.
It's very chewy candy.
I don't want to make this ASMR for you. Hey, Ru, guess what?
What?
It has been 1 year since the Rainbow History Class book was released.
Oh my gosh, does it really come around that quickly?
Yes, it has.
How are you feeling about it? Because I mean, I don't know if many people know this, but Hannah actually wrote the book. I consulted on a very small part, that being the colors used in the illustrations, but Hannah wrote the entire book. I did not write a single word.
But you did read every single word in the audiobook. And yeah, it's been out for a year, which is wild. I was alerted to this because it was kind of like my phone did here's a picture from a year ago.
Oh no, it was just you crying.
Yeah, it was me crying.
Yeah.
No, it was me like trying to like be chill about getting it from a bookstore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think that I can't believe it. And I am still getting some messages from people that are reading it for the first time and really enjoying it, which is really heartening.
How do you feel? Because it was your debut book as an author, right?
It was, yeah. And I am feeling great about it. I think, when you release something like that, it's a big undertaking, especially when you're talking about kind of the history of the queer community. There's a lot of people invested in, you getting that right. And I think, you do the best you can and you use the best research according to your judgment and put it together in a way that you think is entertaining and readable. And so I think, as, time has gone on, I'm feeling more proud about how I did that versus this time last year where it was really kind of nervy.
Yeah, as well, I think as well, we were in Sydney for World Pride when the book came out. It was sort of tied up in all of that. And I think it would have been hard for you to stop and kind of go, oh shoot, I wrote a whole book when you were, worrying about a dance for, a Mardi Gras float.
100%. I don't even think that I connected with it being cool until we bought that copy of it in New York.
I was going to say that was actually one of my highlights of our trip. Basically, Hannah and I went to VidCon last year and that was in LA, and we decided to go over to New York just because we were, in the country. And we hunted down this beautiful bookstore. It had this gorgeous, I don't even know, it was in Soho or something.
It was a Rizzoli bookstore.
The Rizzoli bookstore. If you've not been there, it's this gorgeous, amazing bookstore, dark wood interior. It's kind of huge. You walk in there and you feel like a bit of an ant. And we went in there. Hannah had this amazing outfit on, and we went and bought the book. And then Hannah sat out on this ornamental rock with the city of New York sort of framing you holding the book, and it was amazing.
It really was amazing. Yeah, I had the best day. Then it felt real, and now it feels real because now I think I just will occasionally see reviews pop up, and I think the beauty of it being a queer book is that people get reintroduced to it during Pride Month or Mardi Gras or periods like that. So yeah, I hope that this year a bunch more people are introduced to it. But yeah, if you haven't read it and you're interested, look it up.
Yeah. And I mean, we didn't go to Mardi Gras this year, did we?
We did not. No. We did not. And
I don't regret it.
No, I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I feel good about not going.
I felt weird for a while because I was I don't know, the last couple of years I felt like it's been expected of me to go. I mean, last year was huge with World Pride. I mean, I had a flower, like a
deity.
I was made into essentially a flower deity by this, I don't know, I was anyway. Basically, it was a lot last year with World Pride. I was up in Sydney for a month. I think you came down in the second week I was there. You came up in the second week I was there. And I don't know, I feel like I had felt a lot of pressure thinking of going to Mardi Gras this year. But it was really weird because I got a single invitation, not to start the drama, but I received a single invitation this year when last year I had to basically live in Sydney for a month. And I had to turn things down because I was so busy, which it strikes me as odd. But I think I know why.
I think I know why too. No, I think that like, gosh, in 1 year from like World Pride and, you know, the pinnacle of decades of queer celebrations kind of resulting in this big march across the Harbour Bridge to this year, like obviously there's no budgets there, but also things have become a lot more grim for people like us. This hasn't been a great 12 months for queer and trans people.
No, I would swap the word grim out with conservative if I was being completely frank with you. But yeah, it's been an odd time, very odd time culturally and politically for the queer community. But I'm glad I watched the sort of parade on the well, actually I watched it on TikTok because it was streaming there. Yeah, I watched the parade a little bit and I kind of was happy that I was at home making some delicious dinner instead of sort of pressed up against a barricade.
That's true.
Yeah.
Trying to remember the steps to a choreographed dance. No, I was just happy to not have anyone scream slay in my ear.
Oh, yeah, it is quite grating actually after the 50th sleigh. I'm like, yes, I believe I have slain now.
Yeah.
We can back that one up. But look, today Hannah, I wanted to bring you the riveting story of homosexuality in nature and in animal species.
You saw the
Right.
thing about the whales.
I saw the thing about the whales and it really struck a chord for some reason. And I wanted to tell you the story about it. So for those of you who don't know, recently 2 humpback whales have been making the rounds on the internet after going viral, being pictured in a nature photograph that depicted 2 male humpback whales engaging in coitus.
I mean, it's in the name.
Well, yeah, I
Like,
guess so.
They're humpback whales. I presume they do anal. Did you not
I didn't expect you to say that. All right.
I mean, yeah, I presume they do. The first thing I thought is either that or sperm whales.
Well, oh yes, well, there you go. I didn't even think about that in my travels across looking at this subject. But look, the background to this photograph, it was taken by Lyle Cranitchfield and Brandy Romano, who captured these encounters of the whales. And this actually occurred in January of 2022. But it was only sort of published and I suppose it got good PR recently because it was accompanied in a study that was only just published recently. So that's why.
So you're saying these 2 blokes have been sitting on this material for 2 years?
Yes, they have known. Well, I suppose a small community of people have known that whales were engaging in gay sex. Or,
I presume the people that named them humpback whales had some idea.
Well, maybe, but it was only really brought to light. And what's interesting about this, I should say that the reason that everyone's popping off about these 2 male whales having sex is because it was the first time that it had been captured or observed. And so that's why
get a picture up of them.
It just looks like they're doing a nice little dance in the water. It's not super sexual.
I think we should have given them some privacy.
Well, I suppose so. But anyway.
Whoa, hang on. This is saying that this is the first time we've seen any whales having sex.
Yeah.
And they were men.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Well, see, I got caught up in the gay part of it and I forgot just the non-gay part of it.
Like, it's
pretty wild. I mean, I suppose like maybe whales are really good at being private about their sex lives. I don't blame them.
That's true.
They're, I mean, like what? They're size of like a couple of buses. So
that's amazing.
Probably hard to keep that private, but I am surprised that it's taken us this long to observe how they procreate. But nevertheless,
I guess it's not really procreating what they're doing.
Well, yeah, that was very heteronormative of me, I will admit. But this happened just off the coast of Hawaii, and I think it's really interesting. When I started looking up the topic of, I guess, homosexuality or in nature, when I typed in gay whales into Google, I was presented with something.
Oh
no, I was presented with a really good piece of I was presented with an anecdotal story I wanted to share with you because
I thought you were presented with images of pornography.
Thank God I wasn't, because that would have really put me off.
But
I don't want to know what those anthropomorphic whales are getting up to.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But when I Googled gay whales, as you do on a Sunday morning, I got given this website detailing something called Land Rights for Gay Whales, which, have you heard of this? Surely you have.
Also, why would whale want land rights?
Okay, so this is the thing, right? So it's a
They
political
can't even
term.
survive on land.
It's a political term, and this is the point. It's a political term that is sometimes still used by people of conservative political views to categorize or mock people on the left. So in Australia, leftism or being leftist is being progressive. It's, most of the times, not being a dick about stuff. And right wing is conservatism in Australia. So that's where we're coming from, because this phrase, land rights for gay whales, is an Australian slogan, of course. I say of course because it sounds really Australian to me.
So are the gay whales on the left or the right?
The gay whales are on the left, and the right wing people are saying, oh, those lefties, they want land rights for gay whales.
Okay, but like, I wish they would just listen on the right. Like, we want a lot of things, and never have we wanted land rights for gay whales.
Well,
what we would like is unpolluted waters for the gay whales to have sex in.
And I've always said that.
Right. But I just think they need to listen. It's not land rights, okay?
Well, is it technically land? Because, you do have water, but underneath the water is a plate
land.
of land.
I've always wanted that.
It is.
And when does something go from land to sea? It's gradual.
And at what point of climate change are we going to change the delineation between land and sea? Or is that an ever-changing thing depending on the tide?
And when it comes to the whales, I'm just not sure.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
I wonder if they listened to the whales on sonar.
Oh, when they were having sexy times?
Just to
see what they were saying.
Yeah.
I wonder. Probably not in the moment. They were too shocked. They probably didn't know what they were looking at.
They're probably just going, we're here, we're queer.
Get used to it.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So before I take you through the history of observing homosexuality in nature, I wanted to play a game with you, Hannah.
Oh, yes.
It's called Gay or Nay.
Oh, my God.
And it's where I state an animal and you tell me whether it's gay or nay.
Okay.
So it's basically whether it's been observed to, whether the species of the animal has been observed to engage in quote unquote homosexual activities.
Got it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to start you with an easy one.
Right.
An orca.
Yeah. Big time.
You have to say gay or nay.
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't count.
I can't say big time. Gay.
Okay. Do you have any reason for that?
Well, they're a member of the whale family, aren't they?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, well, kind of.
Even though they're technically dolphins/porpoises, but then dolphins/porpoises are technically whales. So
wow, I didn't know you knew that much about whales.
Dolphins were a special interest of mine.
Really?
For many years.
Wow. Would you? Okay.
I know a lot about the differences between the bottlenose dolphin and the common dolphin.
Okay. Well, can't wait to go to the aquarium with you.
I'm fun at the aquarium.
Okay. All right. Next one. A raven.
Oh, nay. I reckon they're asexual.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Okay. Next one. We're going to look at the fish category now. Salmon.
Salmon are lesbians.
Oh, okay. I'd agree with that.
I reckon.
Okay.
I just reckon, I reckon that they just give me a lesbian vibe.
There's something resilient about them.
That, and it looks kind of like the lesbian flag in sashimi.
Okay, well, I'm going to note that one down. Okay, let's move into reptiles. The wood turtle.
If the answer's nay and that's your idea of a decoy, I'm going to go nay because I actually believe that you would do that.
Okay.
You would come up with a really specific animal to be the decoy.
The wood turtle is as straight as you can get them. Okay, let's do another reptile. The common garter snake.
Gay.
Really?
Gay. Garter snake. That is a name for, I presume, a penis.
Oh, okay.
Isn't your garter is
what's your garter?
Your garter
Hang on, garter. We don't pronounce our T's.
Garter, it's like a suspender, right?
Yeah.
It's very sexy.
I always think about the weddings that I was going to say the weddings that straight people have where the guy goes and nibbles the garter off.
No one does any nibbling.
That's where I was going. That's why I think the common garter snake is a nay. But
you think it's a nay?
All right, well, I know the answers, but I'm just saying that in my opinion.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
No. It's gay. It's a garter snake. It's a snake that lives in a garter.
All right. Okay.
Okay. I that could be hetero. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, Sandrine.
Yes, your love.
My
baby.
My dog. I thought that she might be lesbian because nature or nurture, she's around a lot of lesbian energy. She is the most aggressively heterosexual dog you've ever met. Like, I actually wasn't sure that straight people existed until I got Sandrine.
Well, I've
She
been
just
thinking about this.
Loves boys.
Is she like, did you do the thing where you like rolled up pieces of paper with like different like identifiers on it and made her pick her identity?
I think you were there when we did that.
Yeah. Because I think when we did that, we put down some gender identities for her, and I think she did come up with girl.
Oh, and she is like...
She's a girl.
She's a girl. She is like... We say gender is a construct until you meet Sandrine.
Yeah, she really does live by the book.
We say, you know, sexuality is fluid until you meet Sandrine. But anyway, she's obviously cavoodles are not on your list.
No, I do have scarab beetle though.
I hate scarabs. I saw The Mummy, and that was my first experience with scarab beetles when they get under your skin.
But is it gay or nay?
Well, I'm going to say nay because things that aren't gay get under my skin.
Okay, that was a good one. That was a very good one. Okay, last one. Bringing it home to Australia. We got the koala.
Oh, they have chlamydia.
Whoa!
They do.
What has that got to do with it?
Well, that was my starting point. I'm going to go gay.
What? Gay people have chlamydia, Hannah? Is that what you're saying?
I just reckon that like the amount of chlamydia that the koalas have suggests that they're very sexually fluid, and I can't imagine that they would restrict themselves to just one subset of their population.
Okay. Well, you really talked your way out of that one.
Koalas.
Yeah.
Gay.
Gay. Okay. Well, the whole game was a ruse because all of those animals demonstrate homosexuality in nature. So
You didn't include penguins or seagulls.
well, you would have known, and that would have been too easy.
So true.
So there you go. Yeah, all of those animals, plus many more, have exhibited homosexual behavior in, their natural spaces in the environment. In fact,
I knew it.
Like over 100 and wow, hang on, this is math, so I'm really bad at it. 1,500 species have been said, and studied to have exhibit being gay in nature, which is crazy. And I say in nature because
now I want to know which the straight animals are.
Well, that's the thing, and I tried to look it up and you can't find it because people are only really documenting.
That is such heteronormativity, isn't it? Because it's just like no one is cataloging the straight animals. It's just that the gay animals are odd, but there's actually heaps of them. So I think we need an inquest into, I'm like straight pride for animals.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can have a badge that says land rights for straight koalas if you like.
Thank you. Can I borrow your badge maker?
Absolutely. But yeah, look, as I said, there is, a lot of studies that say that, upwards of 1,500 species exhibit gay behaviors. And these behaviors are found in all major types of animals, which include birds, reptiles, fish, arthropods, mollusks, and of course mammals, which means humans.
Yeah, but I'm interested in the mollusks.
Well, we're not going there today because they're kind of creepy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
But these observations were being made way back as early as the 1700s. But it was in 1911 that George Murray Levick, who documented homosexual behavior in penguins at Cape Adair in Antarctica. Wow, that's really hard.
Oh my gosh. Like our neighbors.
Yes. So this guy, he saw these penguins basically, being gay, and he called them depraved. He said it was depraved, and it was said that the report that he made about these gay penguins were too shocking to be released to the public at the time, and therefore it was suppressed. And the only copies that were made available were made privately available to researchers, and they were partially written in Greek letters to prevent the knowledge becoming more well known. I shit you not.
Okay, 2 things on that. One,
I'm sorry to drop that on you.
Greek is a very well-known language. Putting something in Greek is hardly invisible ink.
Do you know when they made this this report publicly available? What year it was?
1981.
2012.
No!
Yes. right? But around the same time, so go back to 1911. So when when this guy George Michael was, sorry, not George Michael. George Murray. I'm completely lost on this. George Murray, not George Michael. I will not
So when George Michael
called gay penguins depraved. No. So back in 1911, Levick called these penguins depraved. Okay, so that was happening in Antarctica. But at the same time, a similar time, in 1913, a group of naturalists captured a flock of penguins and took them back to Edinburgh Zoo. And they observed something while they were there. They observed that while these penguins were mating for life, that they enjoyed canoodling on the side, and they'd canoodle with penguins of the same sex. The zoo director, T.H. Gillespie, wrote in his 1932 journal, when recounting these what were called sexual triangulations, that these penguins enjoy the privileges not yet permitted to civilized mankind.
Okay, all right. What's this guy's name? Gillespie.
Well, I don't know how to pronounce it 100%, but I think it's Gillespie, yeah.
Yeah, Gillespie. Gillespie called same-sex canoodling a privilege. Was Gillespie himself a canoodler?
Well, we would never know, would we, based on the standards that they were operating under at the time?
Because basically that report is like, how come they get to do that and we don't? Is that...
Well, that's basically what he was saying. He just kind of was like, wow, their society's not collapsing. Damn, that sucks to be me, I guess.
I guess so.
Like, I think that's what he was saying. So, that was at the same time that the people...
So obviously Antarctica was the original fire island.
Well, yeah, for penguins at least. So on the same penguin trail in 2000...
Hang on. I just looked up Antarctica gay just to...
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. Did you know that homosexual activity in Antarctica is illegal?
Legal?
Legal. I didn't actually know that, like, who runs it. And they don't have Antarctica Pride.
Antarctica is actually... I think it's technically a no man's land. Well, no man's land, in that there's like a treaty with like 17 countries.
Yeah, if you're in Antarctica and you're a gay man, you can donate blood.
Wow. Well, we know where we're going to donate blood.
Not to say that Antarctica is a gay oasis, but it appears to be a gay oasis, which obviously explains why the penguins are there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it needs to be added to travel lists for sure.
And they recognize non-binary genders in Antarctica.
Oh, what a dream. What a dream.
I can check ships.
I don't really want to go to, what is it, Drake's Passage? I don't want to go through that thing. What do they do?
Drake's Passage.
What's that song?
I was going to be like Hotline Bling. No.
But yeah, right. Okay. So thanks for derailing. Back on the penguin train, I do want to mention two viral penguins that took the world by storm in 2018, Sven and Magic.
I remember Sven.
Yes. Did you meet him personally?
No, but I remember feeling like
connected.
Yeah.
So Sven and Magic are two male Gen 2 penguins who adopted an egg after bonding and creating a nest at the Sea Life Aquarium in Sydney. And this is because the enclosure, the humans that looked after the enclosure for the penguins saw that Sven and Magic had made this nest, had bonded, and they were like a pair and they were like dating, obviously had like a great life together in this enclosure, mind you. And so they had like an abandoned egg, and the people gave the egg to the penguins to see
Wasn't
if they...
there some kind of lesbian penguin drama as well?
I don't know about that. To be honest, I just got on like a bit of a straight line with
Okay, I
this.
feel like there was some penguin drama, but...
Well, yeah, surely.
Yeah, okay, so they gave the abandoned egg.
And yeah, and they hatched it, and they have a beautiful family, and their child is called Svenjic, which is like magic and Sven together, I guess.
I mean, like, penguins, you know, obviously make loving fathers, but I don't really know if they're that creative with names then.
Maybe not. Maybe they should have just gone with like a glottal, like... Maybe that would be better. But look, obviously homosexuality and, canoodling, having life partners, splitting chores, straight down the line with someone of the same sex in different species, you know, it's documented. It's really well documented. And I think now biologists and zoologists have obviously accepted that this is a natural part of the animal kingdom. And it's made people ask the question, why? And the reason people are getting so hung up on why are there instances of homosexuality in nature is because the whole premise of evolution is based on, well, Darwin's version of evolution. And that is that
Darwin's version.
yeah. So the Darwinian, have you never like studied this?
No, I have. I just thought it was like kind of a scientifically accepted fact rather than like this guy Darwin's got a version.
I mean, there's always going to be people who like, you know, disagree with the way something's done. You know, I'm, you know, but like for those who don't know, the version of evolution that is most widely accepted and used is Darwin's theory of evolution, which states basically that in order to evolve and in order to survive as a species, one must continually be evolving with the strongest genes, with the strongest traits, so as to survive the environment in which they are in.
Right.
So being gay doesn't really fit into that theory of evolution because people have historically seen having sex as a means to an end to procreate. So being gay and having sex with someone who you can't procreate with in the realm or through the paradigm of evolution doesn't really make sense as to why it still exists today as a prevailing quote unquote gene.
Like I get that, but I also then wonder if all of these like, you know, people that are having these discussions and wondering why do they ever enjoy sex? Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, you know, I think we know better now, but if you look through it, like through the pinhole view of evolution, people who are really set on like, you know, proving hypotheses through this would say that there must be another reason as to why homosexuality exists in nature, if not for procreation. And that's where things like that come in. It's for pleasure. It's for different reasons. So firstly, I want to talk about the gay gene because I feel like this is a hot button topic sometimes. And it's been one of those things where 1 minute it exists, 1 minute it doesn't, 1 minute it's a good thing, 1 minute it's a bad thing. And I just want to say, who gives a fuck about the gay gene? I'm sorry, I don't. Because even if it existed, I don't care. I don't care to know about it. I don't care to have a genealogy examination to find out what kind of gay gene. I don't think it's relevant. I don't think it matters.
Well, I definitely don't want anyone to be able to identify it because that kind of opens the doors for eugenics, you know, like
yes.
I don't want to give people the option to say I don't want a gay kid.
Yes.
So obviously that's terrible. But on the gay gene, I think like I have no knowledge about this. I should caveat it. But it's interesting that in my family, each generation has one gay person.
That is very interesting.
And that person usually is the one person in each generation that has curly hair.
I want to ask more prying questions, but I'm trying not to care about the gay gene phenomenon.
I think I think I could get you on board the gay gene. I'm a gay gene truther.
All right, fine.
No, I don't really know or care either.
Yes, but listen, that's really all I want to say about the gay gene because I feel like once you start talking about that, the topic kind of gets a bit derailed. So I just want to say that when I'm telling you about why people care about homosexuality in nature, there is a portion of people who are down this like hellbent road of trying to figure out if there's a gay gene and how that impacts evolution and what that means, right?
Yeah, like they might think that there's a gay gene which is population control or something like that.
Well, yeah, something like that. So that's one thing. We've talked about it a little bit, but let's go and explore something else, which is why animals may be engaging in homosexual behavior for reasons other than procreation, which is, I think, where the most interesting story is. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is one of the most prevalent like biologists in the latter part of the 20th century was this guy called Bruce Bajmil, and he made this book that contains studies and it talked about homosexuality in nature called Biological Exuberance. It was published in 1999, and he said that
biological exuberance is a wonderful phenomenon.
Exactly. And he said that in his opinion, through his studies, homosexuality was seen in nature because it offered things like better cohesion in social groups, the lessening of tensions, and in the example among bonobos, which are a form of ape, I believe, it helped like keep the group together. It was just like kind of, it released, I suppose, social tensions. It helped social dynamics form or break apart. It was sort of one of those things where it was probably done for pleasure in some instances. Like it's kind of like besides the point.
Well, I mean, I guess that was the rationale among pirates, and matelotage was the idea that encouraging, sexual unions between men, between pirates on board would like reduce tension among the crew and make, lessen the possibility of mutiny or, other unrest. So I think like there's actually, same with armies and things like that throughout history, it is kind of suggesting that allowing people to have gay sex, it does make for a better society.
Yeah. And so what's interesting about this book, Biological Exuberance by Bruce, was that in 2014, when Uganda made their Anti-Homosexuality Act, a German gay dating website sent the president of Uganda a copy of this book because he had made claims that homosexuality was unnatural. And so they sent him this book because it was a book full of studies asserting that homosexuality is natural in the animal world.
What I love about that is, first of all, this gay dating site like definitely felt that like it was their sphere of influence, that like, it fell with them to change the Ugandan president's mind and chose this book. It's so specific and thought out, but kind of not rigorously thought out.
I mean, I like it. I like they're like, oh, yeah, I read this book last week. Actually, I think this would be really good for the president of Uganda. Let's send it to him for Christmas. Because I think they sent it to him for Christmas, which I think was really funny. But I don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. But that is to say that, yes, there are many biologists and zoologists out there that now assert the claim that obviously animals don't just have sex to mate and to have babies. Like it's obviously pleasurable to have sex. And even if you said, oh, well, it's pleasurable because we have to do it and we're built to make babies. So obviously evolutionary wise, we want to enjoy that experience because it'll make us want to have more babies. Again, I don't actually care. Like I don't think that actually matters as to people wanting to enjoy sex. And it just, I think, goes to show that we are engaging in not just sex as well, can I say, because instances of asexuality do exist in nature. And when we talk about homosexuality in nature, I'm not talking about the act of sex. I'm talking about anything like
often it's kind of
relationship-wise.
like, they'll build a nest together, or
they want to raise a baby,
or, split kind of duties in a different way.
Yeah,
totally.
It's not just sex. So I'm sorry I took the whole podcast to say that, but that is definitely what I'm meaning here. So I found this interesting, I don't know what you would call it, proposition.
Right.
By some evolutionary biologists from Yale, Berkeley, and other research institutions that propose that same-sex sexual behavior, okay, so now we are talking about sex, was not actually evolved from heterosexual behavior. So it wasn't as if we started off being heterosexual by default, and then, I say we as in the animal kingdom, and then we suddenly evolved, I suppose, to enjoy same-sex activity. They state that we actually function under a model called indiscriminate mating, which is what we might call bisexuality in humans. And it appeared as an evolutionary ancestor for all animals before the preference of heterosexual behavior ever did. Basically, what this is saying is that in order for an animal to choose one sex over the other, they must first be able to determine the difference between a male or female of the same species.
Right.
So again, we're looking at like binary terms here, but just bear with me. In order for these same sex specific differences to evolve, sexual reproduction must evolve from asexual reproduction, like cloning, first. So therefore, there must have been some time after sexual reproduction evolved and before sexual signaling evolved, like so gender expression.
Are we talking like in terms of timelines? Are we talking like, mold? How far? Are we like pre-dinosaurs?
We're talking about like we're talking about like way
organisms.
back, like organisms. So basically, think about it this way. So we've got asexual reproduction, which is
right.
cloning.
So which is kind of like,
self-reproduction.
bacterias and stuff.
Yes,
Yep.
right? Then after that, we developed sexual reproduction where we could mate with a different sex from our species, or maybe sometimes other species,
Yep.
and have offspring. And once that was established in nature, indiscriminate mating was available, which meant that we couldn't really tell like what we were sort of looking at in terms of mating with someone. Like if you were like a mollusk and you were looking at another mollusk, you might not know if that mollusk was male or female. So you were just kind of like,
To everyone, yeah, like bacteria is pan.
exactly. And so, well, I guess so. And then from there, we developed signs and signals, like visual signs and signals, to say, hey, I'm a girl mollusk, I'm a boy mollusk, which made it like possible to, I guess, make more informed choices as to who you were going to try and mate and procreate with.
Girl mollusks are so cute.
I know.
But you know what's interesting though is like I assume that
Like, is that making sense? I hope that
it's making sense, because what I'm getting though is that like obviously there might have been preferences within that, but like anyone that only had a preference for like the same gender or the same sex would by evolutionary standards die out, because their lineage wouldn't continue. And I know we're not talking about the gay gene, but I can see how heterosexuality would become dominant.
Well, yeah, it became dominant, like, I suppose, and this, I'm just like speaking from what I've researched. I'm not speaking from like an expert perspective, but like, I think it became dominant because if we assert the theory that these biologists are using, it became dominant because it just, so I think for whatever reason, we evolved to signal our sex.
Yeah.
And so it was easier for species to quickly ascertain, and this is talking like before dinosaurs, right? Probably. Like it was easier for them to ascertain, oh, that's a boy or that's a girl. I can have a baby with that. I can't have a baby with that.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they weren't having to like root around literally.
Yeah.
Like to have a baby or to procreate.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I think on some level, whether it's instinctual, whether it's consciousness, I don't know, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to have sex with that mollusk that's pink because it's a girl, like, right? Like, I think it just comes down to that. And so therefore it's like evolutionarily, it's evolutionary preferential, not evolutionarily natural to be heterosexual.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. But then again, like I'm trying to like articulate a highly complex biological theory, and I'm not a biologist nor a scientist by any means. So if you've not understood a word I've said in the last 10 minutes, I don't blame you, because it's probably me. Like,
I think no, but it is interesting because I think you're just talking about kind of like what is defined as natural, and there's like the social element to that.
Yes.
And then there's the biological or physiological element to that. And I think there's like, evidence to suggest that from the social perspective,
yes,
same-sex relationships in the animal world, natural insofar as they perform a function within communities of different species. And then you've got the physiological thing, which is what you're explaining, which is kind of like, what is that innate biological urge to kind of procreate and how we go about doing that.
Yeah. And look, I've taken you down a bit of a rabbit hole, void, pothole down a road situation, the gay whales at the top of the episode. But I think it is really interesting when you start like opening up these little cans of worms. And I do want to finish the episode out
by or girl worms.
They're just worms, Hannah. All right. I don't know how those bad boys get it on, but I don't want to know. But anyway, sorry, I just started thinking about duck penises. Sorry. Anyway, what I wanted to finish out the episode on was not duck penises. It is finishing and just leaving everyone with another answer to the why question when it comes to homosexuality in nature. And that is that there are, again, a swath of biologists and zoologists and similar people in similar professions that kind of just go, well, why not? For a large majority of species, it is likely that same-sex sexual behavior in particular is a holdover from ancestral conditions like we just talked about. And therefore, it's always existed simply because it has. And it was never costly enough in terms of costing a species its
future.
future, its evolution, to defer from it, to stop doing it. It was never like going to risk them becoming extinct, because like we always say, it's not everything is gay, but there's gay in everything, including
girl and boy mollusks.
Girl and boy mollusks.
No, 100%. I feel like it's such a great story, because I think I love the kind of why not element to it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care about the gay gene. I don't care why. Like, I just don't. Personally, I just don't.
I don't know. I feel like, though, there is something, social side of things, because I do think if you've got a cohesive group, I'm thinking like, animals that survive by being in groups. If you have a cohesive group, then you are more likely to be successful against predators. It's communication and things like that. So if you're like in a group of, I don't know, a pack of wolves or whatever it is, and, the relationships that you have and the hierarchy being protected is far more likely to ensure your evolution to the future than, having aggression or not a great kind of cohesive group. So I think the idea that, having same-sex sex as a way to kind of reduce tensions like it was for the pirates is also, an evolutionary source of strength.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And if you're a biologist or someone who's more in the know than me and want to correct me or drop me a line on something I've missed, send us an email at hello@rainbowhistoryclass.com and let me know where I've gone wrong in my little void that I entered in this morning when I found out that whales are gay.
And you know what I think as well? If you do happen to be sitting on any other depraved Greek reports into animal homosexuality that you'd like to leak to us here at Rainbow History Class, please do that. We will protect your identity, and we hope that you don't have to keep your gay whale photos under wraps for 2 years.
Exactly. And you know what? If you are in Bendigo or surrounds, we are going to do a stand-up comedy show at Bendigo Pride on the 22nd of March. So that's for those of you who are in Victoria. So come along to that. It's going to be a hoot. But otherwise, you can catch us on Instagram and TikTok. We are wherever you type in Rainbow History Class on the internet. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I don't know why I keep taking on really boisterous topics, but I guess that's just what I'm doing at the moment.
Well, thanks for doing it with me.
I'm not even answering you back. Close the show, Hannah.
They're good.
Well, you didn't even do the end bit.
I thought you did it before.
No.
All right, I'll do the end. Okay, so as we always say, and as you said, like literally seconds ago, not everything is gay, but there is gay in everything, including the ocean floor.